You pull around the corner of a windy road as your favorite song is playing on the radio, and the wind is blowing through your hair. You need to go see your dealer today because the supply is low, and your daughter has 13 seizures a day without it. Suddenly, red and blue flashing lights appear up the street. You see the cops handcuffing a man and aggressively pushing him into the silver cop car. It's him. You turn around to check on your little girl as she starts to convulse and foam at the mouth. You think to yourself, I want to do it legally. I shouldn't have to break the law to give medicine to my child, as the tears well up in your eyes. This sad excerpt from the Washington Post about families who moved to Colorado to get medical marijuana for children with epilepsy is the true reality for some families. Weed, pot, smoke, and tree are all names for marijuana. Marijuana is an illegal drug that alters the mind and body by elevating mood and relaxing the muscles. It can be smoked in a multitude of ways, such as putting it in specialized rolling paper, known as a joint, out of a bong, and can also be baked into food or into a tea. While most people choose to use the drug recreationally, there are also a great number of medical benefits. Few people recognize the medical benefits that marijuana can have for diseases like epilepsy, cancer, and glaucoma. Marijuana has legitimate medical use, and legalization of medical marijuana by the federal government would be a highly beneficial decision for many people. Marijuana was widely used in the ancient world and has many medical benefits that were first recognized in China and then quickly spread to the rest of the ancient world. It was highly useful to the Chinese because they believed it could cure anything. The first instance of its use dates back to 4000 BC, when it was used as an anesthetic for surgeries and painful procedures. The effects that it had on the body were known to be magical, and it was helpful to the patients even if it only reduced the amount of pain for a short while. The use of medical marijuana is nothing new to the world and was considered great by the Chinese. Due to the amount of support and praise that the drug received in China, it became widespread and popular in almost all of Asia, in the Middle East, and along the eastern coast of Africa. As the popularity of the drug spread, it began to be used even for religious purposes and as a stress reliever. The ancient physicians prescribed marijuana for everything from pain relief to earache to childbirth. Siddharth writes in his article Medical Marijuana, found in Times magazine. Many people, include professionals and emperors, believed that marijuana was powerful and supported its use as a healing tool. Even before the Common Era, marijuana was widely supported as a medicine. There was very little reason to be opposed to the drug back then. However, today, there are many people that have strong prejudice against marijuana. Today, the United States is full of people who are against the use of medical marijuana for legitimate reasons, such as it leading to hard drug use or hurting the lungs. Many people say that marijuana is a gateway drug, which is a drug that will lead to harder drug use and open the door to abuse. Although marijuana could be seen as a gateway drug, some professionals state that it is not clear whether marijuana can cause subsequent use of other drugs or whether it is merely a signal indicating the presence of underlying social, psychological, or physiological risk factors, such as weak parental supervision, a taste for intoxication, or a willingness to take risk, which Calkins states in his book, Marijuana Legalization, What Everyone Needs to Know. Contrary to popular belief, marijuana is not actually a gateway drug. For most people, marijuana is the first drug they come into touch with, simply because it's the most common illicit drug and the easiest to find. It is only viewed as a gateway drug by those that have been affected in a negative way because of it. By choosing to abuse hard drugs such as cocaine or heroin after marijuana use, it shows that the user has issues that results in their decision to abuse drugs. Marijuana is not the cause of drug abuse. The person in their psyche is the cause of abuse. Some say that marijuana is not a legitimate medicine because it is smoked and smoking is bad for the lungs. However, this small side effects is nothing different from the side effects of drugs we use today. Calkins states, if it has turned out that some patients with neuromuscular spasms got substantial relief from marijuana, The lung damage from smoking wouldn't be an automatic veto for using it. Just as stomach irritation from aspirin is not a strong reason not to take it when you have a headache. The lasting effects of marijuana do not cancel out the good immediate effects that it has on the body. Marijuana may have some negative lasting effects, but so do many other drugs on the market. If you were to watch a drug commercial, the side effects would most likely include a possible heart attack or stroke. These are far more intense than any possible side effect smoking marijuana for medical purposes could have, which are almost non-existent. Marijuana is perceived as something that is extremely harmful and a poor choice by conservatives, but it is just like a normal drug that has few negative side effects. It is not a drug that leads to other drug use because that is based on user and their inner psychological issues. The benefit that marijuana can deliver to people far outweigh all the prejudice and opposition to the use of marijuana as a medicine. One of the many benefits of medical marijuana is the effects that it has on children and adults that suffer from epilepsy and different epileptic syndromes. Marijuana can reduce the number of seizures that those with epilepsy have. If a doctor feels that medical marijuana is the best way to go, then the government should not be obstructing the doctor's medical advice. Legalizing marijuana for medical use would help those who deal with epilepsy daily. Epilepsy is only one of the many uses of medical marijuana, where there are other beneficial uses such as in the cancer field. There are millions of Americans who suffer from cancer, and medical marijuana can help those who suffer because of its power to stop cancer from spreading and to help those going through chemotherapy. Marijuana does not completely get rid of cancer. However, scientists from California Pacific Medical Center in San Francisco say differently. The effects that it has on the body and cancer cells are a huge breakthrough for not only the cancer research industry, but also for the legalization of medical marijuana, because of the huge benefits and hope it gives to those who are at risk for cancer or are already suffering from cancer. Not only does marijuana help stop the spread of cancer, but it can also give those who are going through chemotherapy relief. Cancer is a sickness that is devastating to families around the world, but marijuana can help make those who suffer more comfortable during the battle with cancer. Cancer is one of the lesser-known uses of medical marijuana. Perhaps the most known use for marijuana is to treat glaucoma. Glaucoma is a disease that causes immense amounts of pressure to build up in the eyes. It causes permanent optic nerve damage, which is the result of intraocular pressure. Intraocular pressure is the main problem of glaucoma. While marijuana can help glaucoma patients keep their vision, it can also help Alzheimer's patients with their memory. Research has found that THC is effective at lowering A-beta levels. A-beta stands for amyloid beta plaque, which is the main cause of Alzheimer's disease. The plaque builds up between nerve cells and is in the synapse of the brain. Medical marijuana pro-con says marijuana can lower the amount of A-beta plaque and can prevent it from spreading or becoming more serious. Medical marijuana is very beneficial for anyone who is at risk for or had Alzheimer's disease, and legalization by the federal government would prove to be very beneficial. Legalizing medical marijuana would remove the knot in your stomach because you're constantly worried about your little girl in the back seat having a seizure. There would be no more worries about getting caught or your dealer getting caught. Medical marijuana has been in use for centuries and can help with so many different sicknesses and ailments. Marijuana should be legalized by the United States government, as it is proven to be valuable to those who need it to make their everyday lives better.